Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no really super logical way of approaching this, and I agree. Tanjiro being able to cure demons is very illogical and isn't really kind of a thing in Demon Slayer. You also might be saying, hey, they do have a way to cure demons and blah blah blah. Yes, we do see that to an extent, but it's not really what we thought it would be. Yes, it does cure demons to the vast majority of it, but what would have happened if Tanjiro could truly cure demons? So let's say Tanjiro had some sort of power, some sort of ability, very similar to what the demons or Muzan has with scraping somebody or kind of scratching somebody and turning them into a demon themselves. Well, for starters, it would be obvious that Nezuko would be cured very, very quickly. Now, let's say that somehow Tanjiro's consumption of wisteria through tea, or maybe something of that merit, maybe the rumors or kind of what was said in kind of a rumored way with the whole, oh, wisteria tea, and that allowed Nezuko to conquer the sun and stuff like that. So let's say all that is true, and this gave Tanjiro the powers to, well, cure demons. He would instantly cure Nezuko. Now, would this be on purpose? 100% not. He would be very confused. He would find his mother, his mother and his siblings all dead, but would see that Nezuko would still be grasping on for life. He would take this opportunity to grab her, put her on his back, and run off to try to find some help. But then soon it would be obvious that Nezuko was not the same, that Nezuko was actually some monstrous being or some sort of, scary demon or demonic creature. He's not 100% sure, but that's 100% the case. She would attack him and he was able to fend her off relatively well, and eventually he would lay one little scratch on her. As Nezuko would feel this scratch, she would begin to shrink in size, the once size that she normally was at, and then eventually would shrink to kind of a more childish or more baby-like form and begin crying. And eventually she would go back to her normal size, and the scratch on her arm would eventually fade away in a weird mist of kind of this weird blue mist in a way. And Tanjiro would be completely shocked, and a Tomioka, or a Giyu Tomioka that is on his way and that is basically just watching right now, sees this and is completely flabbergasted. How the heck did that just happen? Tomioka would immediately ask Tanjiro how he did that and what just occurred, in which he would say that his little sister was hurt and that he's not sure what happened, but all his family is dead. But Tomioka would tell him to get away from his sister now. But Nezuko would speak and would be pretty clear. And just by the way she looks, it's obvious she is no demon. But Giyu isn't 100% convinced. But eventually he would be. He would explain that Nezuko was a demon, that she was going to eat Tanjiro, but then Nezuko would say that she would never eat Tanjiro, and she really doesn't even remember what happened throughout this time, what even occurred in this moment, in which Giyu thinks to himself, that is interesting, but that would make sense. Maybe it was a blank spot because she was a demon at that moment, and Giyu would tell them both that they need to go to the Hashira and speak to the master of all the demon slayers ASAP. So Giyu would drop everything, taking both Nezuko and Tanjiro over there as soon as possible, and Tanjiro, when arriving at this brand new place, would be completely shocked. Now keep in mind, Tanjiro is no demon slayer. He is absolutely not a demon slayer. He is nothing of the sort, and he would just be speaking with everybody there. Now, with that said, Tanjiro would speak to the Hashira and many other people, and they would ask what exactly he did. He would say that he fended her off and eventually landed a bit of a scratch on her arm, and it seemed to actually cure her of being a demon, in which they ask if they could do tests, maybe take a little bit of a blood sample just to see if they can find anything out. But let's be honest, the technology isn't crazy right now, so they wouldn't really be able to find out the scientific way or the version of this fact and this matter. At the end of the day, all they know is that Tanjiro has the capabilities of curing a demon. and everybody is in complete and utter shock, or at least to an extent. Of course, a lot of people would have questions, and they would even question if he can do this ever again. If he can do it to any other demon, maybe a strong one, maybe a weak one, maybe to even Muzan himself, in which they all bring this up. And they begin to say that the only way to know is they have to test it. What they're going to do is bring Tanjiro on a mission, make sure he's completely protected, and they'll bring him to a demon that one of the Hashira can easily defeat and actually pin down and make sure that that demon cannot get away. So once they do that, some random dude that turned into a demon like a long time ago is pinned down and restrained. And once he's restrained, Tanjiro would scratch him one time, and soon his body would begin to kind of change. He would begin to shake uncontrollably, and everybody would begin to be very confused. But just as the scratch appeared, it then disappeared. This wasn't regeneration from the demon, it was actually somehow regeneration going back into a human body. They don't understand how this even works, but blue mist once again would emanate from the scratch, and that random demon they found just somewhere out in the world, somewhere nearby, would change back into a human, and they would be completely shocked, saying that they don't remember anything, and that actually they only remember kind of spots about what happened, and only very little bits of just, where they were at one point, or where they were over here or over there. And they basically say that they remember things from 20 years ago more clearly. Now, this is proof that this is a demon that has been a demon for quite a while, but we know that some demons have been demons for hundreds of years. So that's obviously going to be a telltale. Now, with all that said, now they know for sure that Tanjiro's power to cure demons is something of just true legend, something that they would only read in some sort of fantasy book. Now, with that said, they tell Tanjiro they are going to train him. Every last one of them are going to train Tanjiro, not only Tanjiro himself, but maybe even Nezuko. But Nezuko can really just help out with kind of healing other demon slayers and stuff like that. Really, they don't have anywhere else to be. Let's be honest, there's really nowhere else for them to go because they're, sadly enough, their family is dead. But still, Tanjiro takes on this offer saying that he wants to avenge his family, maybe cure all the demons in the world, in which they agree. They think this is a great idea. So now a Tanjiro that really hasn't had any other benefits other than being able to cure demons, let's make that clear. He's now here. Now he is at the Hashira mansion and is now going to get training from some of the strongest, I repeat, demon slayers around. The Hashira are absolutely legendary. Sword skills are unmatched. So the fact that Tanjiro will now get training from them here on out, all the way leading up until his final selection, well, that would be perfect for him. This would make him an absolute amazing demon slayer, and his transition into, obviously, the final selection would be a piece of cake. On top of that, he could cure most demons that are there. And throughout this time, he would learn that his ability to kind of cut demons, and through his own breathing style, it would allow him to cure demons. So he doesn't even need necessarily physical contact with a demon, but this would lead him to have different types of weapons, because it does seem, at least to a certain extent, that he needs to be somewhat close to a demon. So a very long sword hitting from distance probably wouldn't trigger the effect of curing a demon. So having a short blade and being close to the touch is something Tanjiro wants to do. Ideally, one stab all the way through would more or less guarantee a purification of a demon. Now, with that said, he would go to the final selection, and it would be relatively easily defeated, because Tanjiro could cure most, if not all, the demons within the forest. And this would bring up a bit of an odd circumstance, at least for the other people that run the whole final selection, because you really wouldn't have many demons in there anymore. They would have to get more somehow within the forest, or something like that. But being able to kind of purify or cure the demons within there shows everyone that there is massive amounts of hope, a lot of hope at that, going into all of this dreadful demonhood kind of tactics that they'll see. These demons are disgusting. They come out at night and all they look for is to devour flesh of humans and to kill them. So the fact that now Tanjiro kind of gives this bright light to everyone, it definitely gives the confidence to many of the demon slayers that they can win. They can win against the demons. And let's be honest, with the blood of Tanjiro, they may even be able to utilize that to kind of make up their own pseudo cure, but nothing will be as potent as Tanjiro himself. Now let's talk about any other demons Tanjiro will fight. Well, that's just a breeze. If he goes on the same pathway as normal, fighting someone like the Swamp Demon and then obviously leading him to many other demons, all of the low grade and kind of easy demons are handled relatively simply. I mean, we're talking about demons that can't really keep up, and this is a Tanjiro arguably way better trained by various Hashira. And on top of that, Tanjiro has the ability to cure demons, like I said before. So the fact is, nothing really happens that drastically all the way until we get to Rui. The fact that Tanjiro is now fighting a lower demon or a lower moon will obviously put him ahead of the curve. And on top of that, when he goes in and fights against Rui, and he learns that he can cure Rui, curing him at that and his family, it does send signals off to Muzan about what this kid is. Tanjiro being able to cure demons on his own and also with the help of others like Shinobu is an absolute powerhouse and is more or less someone to be reckoned with. And if Muzan doesn't make a plan to somehow kill this person, kill Tanjiro, well, let's just say everything will crumble. And now from here on out, I can see this going two ways, really. I can see this going one way where they hunt down Tanjiro to their best of their ability and try and kill him. They end Tanjiro's life, but they take a massive hit to the strongest demons they have. But Tanjiro would fall in the process, but with him gone, well, let's just say Nezuko might be next up to take on that same or similar role. Now, I could see it going that way or going another way. And that other way would be Tanjiro surviving, cutting the herd of the demons drastically, putting Muzan in a position where he has to recuperate. He has to gain more demons, and he has to more or less make his demon army even greater. And on top of that, Tanjiro would be giving enough blood to Shinobu and also other testing kind of scientists, you could call it, but mostly Shinobu, to hopefully create a permanent potion or a permanent version of the cure better than even Tanjiro's cure. Yes, Tanjiro has his own cure, and it's kind of really, really good in terms of the potency. But being able to have the same level that Tanjiro has, the one that Tanjiro basically excretes out of his body, but utilize it just on everyone's blades, that could change everything. Tanjiro as a test subject, as just a scientific test subject, changes the world of Demon Slayer forever in countless amounts of people like Shinobu and many other Demon Slayers that would perish normally. Tanjiro would set them up drastically and differently, keep that in mind, far differently than he did in canon. Tanjiro's power, his ability to fight, isn't what's really good here. His awakening of the Demon Slayer mark and all this other stuff that Tanjiro would eventually do throughout the series isn't what makes him awesome and isn't what makes him great. In all coincidence, that the fact that he drinks so much of the Wisteria tea makes him a walking, talking cure for demons. And the fact that he is that person in this regard or in this scenario would make it so a lot of the Demon Slayers that normally die would live. So Tanjiro, in a way, life or death, even if he ends up dying, of course, would make it so everybody lives on happily ever after. I know that sounds even crazier than when you think about the outcome of the normal demon slayer, but in my opinion, if he could cure demons just off the bat, no science behind it, just straight up he can cure them, well, I think it would lead him to making such a difference that it would lead to even more peace, or at least such a slowdown in Muzan and basically the production of demons, that it would give them such an upper hand and peace would be right over the horizon. Now, with that said, I hope y'all enjoyed this what if. What do you think? What would have happened if Tanjiro could cure demons? You know, in a more fan fiction-y way. I know, obviously, most demon slayers aren't like this. I mean, come on, the effects and the fire and all the water and stuff like that, it's all fake, right? So this most likely would never happen, but I think it's a cool idea. What do you think would have happened if Tanjiro did cure the demons? Do you think after he cures Nezuko, he would just kind of go away? He wouldn't even like help out, he'd just live a normal life? Or do you think, like I think, where he would go with the demon slayers and he wouldn't reject Tomioka telling him, hey, let's go see Hashira? Do you think he still go with Urokodaki? I mean, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. As always, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff, and hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.